State Building.
New York.
Roman Reigns, welcome to the Zoom room. Thank you so much for hanging today. First off, most important, how are you feeling?
I feel good, man. I feel blessed. It's always good to wake up on the right side of the turf.
So I mean, you've had a busy, let's say, last 2 months, but leading up to it, how has it been? Were you like a little kid on Christmas waiting to just run downstairs for that, first time walking down the ramp, getting back in the ring after very wisely taking some time off?
It was a little strange, to be honest, because, I mean, like you said, you'd be walking down the ramp or you'd be sneaking through like in a Valm, getting loaded, ready to run out there. But like when I made my return, it was just so weird because like we're in the Thunderdome, right? And like I just walk out in front of all, and it just feels like, because you can see all the faces and you feel like they're looking at you and they can actually see you, but they only see the feed that we're giving them. So the whole time I'm just asking like one of our headset guys, Tommy, like, man, bro, I feel like they can see me. I don't know. I feel like we're giving it away, because I'm in front of them.
Right.
So yeah, I just walked out casually, just strolling through. They had a few pictures of me. It looked like I was lost or something. But yeah, once it was time, and it was time to go and the button was pushed, it felt really good. It felt good to be back.
Felt like you haven't left.
Yeah, it's always kind of like getting on a bike, and I've always heard, as a full-time performer, you get into a groove.
Of course.
You always hear like the part-time guys or the legends who come back and, they say they got to get back into it. But I didn't feel that way. And I think it's just because it wasn't that much time off. 6 months is different than a couple of years.
But it wasn't like a 6 months where you were being, recovering from injury. You were just like many of us, inside, making sure that you weren't getting sick. So it was a different kind of time off than the typical rest period from performing. Yeah,
that's true. And I think that as well as I took advantage of my time. I really plugged in the time. I'm fortunate enough to have the gym here at the house. So I put a lot of time into, getting into better shape and staying in shape. And then also as time got closer to the return, and then even towards the first match at Clash of Champions, like my cardio, I just put a lot of time into the training and conditioning and just getting to a point, I don't even think the Clash of Champions match was supposed to be, we went, I think, over 20 minutes, 30 minutes for the full segment. It wasn't even supposed to be that long, but you add up, the time out there, the physicality, and then, I was running my mouth quite a bit. I was impressed with myself with being able to, keep my wind and not, be tired. I could have went another 10, 20 minutes, the way I felt.
Well, it was like jumping straight into the deep end of a pool, going up against those guys, and you're about to do it again for the season premiere, SmackDown. When you hear that you and Braun are gonna go toe to toe, is it a different prep than a normal, match that you get ready for, because it's a lot to deal with?
I think in the past, yeah, for sure, and I think for any other, anybody on our roster, they would definitely have to, take it. And be concerned. But for me, man, I just feel like I'm operating on a different level. Like I said, I put in a lot of work at the highest level. I'm working with one of the best strength coaches, in the world, and Neil Hill. And we've just really done everything we can to focus in on the nutrition, and the training, and just being really smart on maximizing the next few years of my career. I feel like I have a 15-year window of being, just in my prime as far as a physical athlete. So, for me, when you add all that up and the experience that I have with Braun Strowman, the fact that we've fought it out a few times in the past, I think he's expecting the same Roman Reigns, but that's his big mistake. When you're a monster, you don't really concern yourself, with other competitors, because you're so big, you're so strong, you're used to just running through things. But what if that object isn't in the way every single time and he keeps missing, you know what I mean? So there's going to be a different game plan, a different mindset going in this match. I think he's I think he's expecting us to be playing checkers, and I'm going in this, with a chess mindset, and it's really going to pay dividends for me.
Now you're saying you were working out a lot at home, and do you have a name for the gym? Like, I mean, obviously it's not the Iron Paradise. We know who belongs to that one, but do you have a name for your gym?
That was something I had thought about, because especially on Instagram, you post your videos and it's like, location, what do you want to call this place, or where are you? And I haven't come up with anything clever. I mean, I guess the other side would be Muscle Beach, but it's still kind of attached to the Gold's Gym, the bodybuilding scene. But the
I'll
one
go
thing
to the Dog Pound. I'm just saying.
I don't mind that at all either, but we're
You
kind
can
of
have it, by the way. No
transitioning.
trademark infringement. Take it, please.
All you.
All right. So coming back to with a heel turn, working with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman just said the other day when he was talking to Bleacher Report, this has kind of been in the making for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Of you guys working together. So was it one of those things where stars aligned and the timing was right, or was it just, after he moved on from Raw, it was like, Roman's coming back, let me jump on and help him out?
I think it was more of the stars aligning. I think this is something, with our history, even past the 8 years, with his history with my family, the working history that he had, breaking into the business, being a friend and a confidant to our family. I just think it was perfect, and the timing. He was like the head of creative for Raw, and then that kind of ran its course. He took a little bit of time off. I took my time off, and excuse me. I think we were both in a place where individually we both done so much. You know what I mean? And I just think it was such a perfect scenario to where we were both able to rest, kind of regather ourselves, refocus. And when the opportunity presented itself, I don't think either of us hesitated, whether it was Paul, myself, or creative and Vince himself. I think it all made sense. And really only Paul and I think, really knew what this could be, right, because of that 8-year tenure that you were talking about. Because if you look at the past, there were so many different things. I saw a picture of Paul and I doing like a podcast with Michelle Beadle back in the day for ESPN before WrestleMania 31. And you could just see, just the picture alone, it was just like, it was way too early then. But when I look at that picture and then I see like the promo picture that we had this past Friday on SmackDown, where we're in the undisclosed office location, it just really it tickled me to see just the progression. And I know back then I wasn't ready for it, but
well, it's like those kids that, the couples that marry and they realize that they were both in Disney World at the same exact time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, have you had the conversation with Paul going, how are we going to work this if his former client, per se, Brock, decides to jump back into the ring? Have you even thought, or is that even a discussion yet? Or is that like, we'll approach that bridge when we get there?
I think it's the crossing of the bridge when we get there. I'm always, I keep everything cooking in this brain. Yeah. So it's a situation. I think the worst thing Paul would ever want to do is to cross me or do something wrong. He knows it's as quick as you get on the island, you can get your ass thrown
right back off. Well, he says Brock's enjoying being a farmer right now, and it's one of those things outside of you guys being performers. I just don't envision the size of Brock being a farmer out there. Do you have a hobby out there that a lot of people would like? Do you farm yourself? I that's what I wanted to know. Do you have those hobbies that no one would expect Roman Reigns to have?
No, I'm a Florida guy. I'm a Florida boy, so we don't farm. Right now, I think mainly, especially with the pandemic, everything's kind of slowed down. So I think I watched the same interview just now with Paul. I think my kids right now, my family, my wife and my kids, they're my passion. You know what I mean?
Were you doing homeschooling?
So with our little guys, I have a set of twins who are just about to be 4. We're working on, getting them up to speed with everything and their basics, getting them ready for kindergarten, preschool. My daughter actually was fortunately already in a very tech savvy school. So she was already virtual ready. So she's been luckily she don't have me teaching her the basic, 7th grade math and all that stuff. But
yeah, I got a 5 and 2. Yeah. 5 and 2-year-old. So like as soon as I can hug a teacher when it's normally and safe, I'm first thing I'm doing is hugging my kids' teachers because I'm like, I don't know how you do it. All right. So coming back and, I know this, but coming back to where you are today and where Raw and SmackDown is going, do you feel that tide changing where so much so that the storylines don't have to rely on the legends as much and based off of the pure talent that you guys are now putting out each and every week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always important to invest in the future. I think it's always important to keep the mindset of creating new stars, and keeping, the talent pool as rich as possible, because that is the only natural resource for the entertainment that we do. It's very rare that we have like a CGI situation. We can't create a cartoon and run that for weeks.
That's when WWE jumped the shark if we have CGI cartoons.
That's when we're out of here. That's when it's time to find a new job. But I do think there are times where it is, if it's very creative and the timing is right, it's nice, and it's all audience based. I believe that this is whatever our audience, whatever's going to create that escapism and allow them to really dive into the product and enjoy themselves and be entertained. That's what we should do. But with that being said, I do believe it is about the future and creating new stars.
Well, I think we saw it over the last few weeks too. I mean, it has to be kind of cool getting to fight or getting to perform with your family in the ring. I think a lot of people would love to fight their own family at times to give them the right, but you get to do it and have some fun with it. That has to be a very cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like, it goes back to the last question. Like, it's really cool to kind of be able to, hit two birds with one stone, to be able to be with family and rely on them and be comfortable, with someone you've been doing this since you're just little, in the pool, in the den, getting kicked out of the house, having to run outside and continue to fight and play, and put on these matches for each other. But then also to be able to create a new star. I don't think, people have seen my cousin Jay and a tag team light, for a long time. And those guys have really killed it over the years and really to establish themselves as, one of the most dominant tag teams of this generation, not only in WWE, but just, within professional wrestling, sports entertainment. I think their understanding of the business, their understanding of storytelling and action, combined, has always been great. But to be able to introduce him to the universal title scene, to be able to introduce him to the responsibility of being in the top realm, being in position in the top of the mountain, having the obligations and the responsibility of doing things like this, constantly working, having something almost every single day. There are no real days off, what I mean? Just before I took this Zoom meeting, we have TR guys texting me, well, can you do this? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Well, can you do it from this time? They don't take no for an answer. Right. So eventually you just gotta, you gotta suck it up and just get it done. So it's been really neat to be able to introduce him to the, this lane of this form of entertainment.
Well, I think you covered, you don't have to get a Christmas gift now. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You let me beat the hell out of you. So no presents this year.
Well, it's kind of interesting to watch to even say, like, he felt that your match, he felt that he was just a bridge for you to get to the next match, but because you guys worked so well that it continued that way. So it was kind of interesting to see that the payoff was so well received from fans that you guys kept it going.
Yeah, I think anytime that you can really dive into it and get lost in it, it makes it that much better,
right.
And that's what was weird is, like, after the Clash match, it felt really good. There was no like going through the curtain to come out of it. Like, it literally, we're off. And then you just come out of it and you're still out there and you're still hanging out in the ring. And to be able to just go back to being family members was really cool. And to capture a couple pictures and to solidify that, that history for us. It's just really neat, and yeah. I think to be able to, be so organic and to tap into real emotions, I mean, some of that stuff, you know, that not necessarily the verbiage I'm saying to him, you know, because that is storyline stuff, but the delivery.
Yeah,
I
like
delivered, you know,
whispering in his ear.
when you're mad at him, you know what I mean? Like when you can really like tap into moments that you've had throughout your life, you know, whether it was when you were kids, whether it was when you're 22, drunk, walking down the street to get, you know what I mean, trying to get home from the bar. Like there were many moments that I had true emotion out there that I was able to tap into, you know, previous moments within our life to be able to deliver it organically. And I think it allowed him to get lost in it, which, you know, at that point, it just becomes a ping pong match where you're just bouncing energy off of each other.
Yeah. Now, Roman, before I let you go, I mean, I feel like you're the perfect spokesperson for, you know, a State of the Union. So what would your State of the Union be to the WWE universe and where you guys are going and where you're at right now today?
I think especially right now being in a pandemic within 2020, I think that, you know, even as a performer who took some time off and came back when the situation felt a little safer, I think you can rest assured that WWE will continue to deliver entertainment and escapism at its highest form for its audience. There's not, I don't think there's a business or a form of entertainment who truly cares about their audience as much as we do. Everything that we do has been built around, you know, being able to deliver the goods every single week. We don't, you know, it's not like we disappear and we're preparing for the next movie. We have our biggest moments within, you know, WrestleMania, and it's back to work the next day. There is no celebration. We don't have Super Bowl parties. So it's all catered to giving our audience something that we feel like they need, that we feel like they deserve.
The escapism.
Yeah, and especially now in a time like this when we don't have all these different outlets to physically get out in the world and do the things and the hobbies and the interests that we like. Like right now, when you ask me, what are your hobbies? I don't, other than, you know, because I'm in entertainment, you know, I don't watch television as much as most people, I would think. And so my entertainment is my family and my children. But, you know, some people don't have kids. Some people, you know, hell, need to get away from their kids because they're with them 24/7 all the time. And they need that 30 minutes, that 2 hours, even that 3 hours of Raw sometimes. It's so long, but they need that time to just be themselves and create and imagine and just unplug and unwind for a little bit. And that's what WWE does, and they're committed to that.
I think you summed it up perfectly too. And just like me too, I have children in the background at any given point. I have stories that I could probably share that would make you red in the face. But Roman, thank you so much. The one thing, do you miss the boos? Do you miss the live action boos from fans in the audience?
Oh, there's nothing like that. I mean, that's what makes us so special, and that's what really separates our atmosphere and our environment. That energy that we create is, you can literally, it's palpable. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can taste it. So there, I mean, the Thunderdome is cool from a visual standpoint, but there's nothing like a live crowd. And I think for me especially, that's what's kept my career at the level that it's been, is because I've always elicited a reaction from fans, whether it was good, bad. But it's never been indifferent. They've always felt a certain way about me, and they've always evoked it, you know, and been very loud about it. So I cannot wait till we get back to a live crowd situation.
And now it's just exclamation points on Twitter too. That's the way that they yell. Roman, thank you. SmackDown season premiere. I'm very excited to see where you go, where the story goes, and thank you so much for taking some time out to hang with us.
My pleasure, brother. Thanks for having me.
From the top of the Empire State Building.